Hey guys, what's up? I'm CJ and welcome back to my galaxy. Today we're talking about something new for the channel, which is The Pitt. I'm actually a really big fan of The Pitt and I know a lot of people are as well. It's a very popular show that came out last year and we've just entered season 2. We have the first 2 episodes that are out and we get weekly episodes, which I love. By the way, I love shows that are released weekly because it means I can like tune into my show once a week and it's like a great day. Anyway, it makes my day better. Often, you know, when you've like had a really bad day and you come home and you can just watch your show. That's what I love about weekly releases. Not something that's like a Netflix show that's a binge show. Anyway, what I'm actually talking about is kind of like a debrief series that I'm going to be doing once a week after every episode. Obviously I didn't do one for episode 1, but we're going to combine episodes 1 and 2 for this week, and then moving forward it will be once a week until the end of the episode. I think there's like 15 episodes. I think that's how many were in season 1 and that's how many supposed to be in season 2 as well. I think it's 15. It's like a 15-hour shift and they go overtime, and that's how, because like some emergency happens. And we're basically just gonna go through what my thoughts were, and you guys can have a discussion with me in the comments down below about what your thoughts are as well. I'm honestly not gonna focus too much on the patients because who cares about the patients in a medical drama? Like, I want to know about the relationships people have, and so I can like develop a parasocial relationship with all these characters. That's something else I've noticed about like how big like The Pitt has for how big of the fan base The Pitt has, because the fandom's like massive. I'm seeing ships everywhere and I'm gonna get into a few of them today when discussing the first 2 episodes, but I see like the most random ships that I'm like, there's no way that's gonna happen in the show, but people are like enjoying themselves coming up with all these ships. And like I love fandom culture like that, and being able to just like come up with your own headcanons. It makes shows more fun in that way. Okay, so I'm gonna basically start off with talking about episode 1 and what we're introduced to. Honestly, after the chaos that was the end of season 1 with the mass shooting and all of those victims, I think there was like well over 100 people who came into the ER in season 1, which is crazy. America's insane, just a side note. And I think like starting with episode 1 is just so calm. I think Dr. Robbie says it as he enters that it's actually pretty calm going into the ER that day, and he says it to, I actually don't remember his name, but it's like doctor always has an iced latte in his hand. That's his name, Dr. Iced Latte. He speaks to him and Robbie comes in. The shot starts with him on a motorcycle without a helmet, which I know for a fact is going to come back and bite him later in the season. He's gonna get into some accident or something, or it's gonna hit him next season, or it's gonna be an important detail, because why is he a doctor not wearing a helmet? It was purposeful, and if it doesn't come back to bite him, it's definitely something to do with his characterization and how reckless he can be as a doctor, that he essentially doesn't care about his own life. And that's what the creators are trying to bring across. But I definitely see something happening with Robbie this season. We're starting at 7 a.m. on July 4th. So obviously we're going to have something go wrong. In the trailer, I believe the system shut down, which now makes sense because Dr. Baran al-Hashimi has introduced AI to the ER and lots of people are against it. And I've got to say, I think it's in episode 2, but just like skipping between episodes 1 and 2 now. In episode 2, I think, did she say to call her Baran? Anyway, everyone's calling her al-Hashimi. In episode 2, Dr. Hashimi has introduced AI, and she mentions how there's a 98% success rate or accuracy to the system that she's using on a patient. And I'm like, 2%, you're a doctor. Like, this is why I don't like doctors, is because they do stupid shit like Dr. Hashimi, and I don't need that in my life. Thank God this is just a show, this particular thing. I know that they're using AI and robots more in real life, and that scares me quite a bit, that there are people like that in real life. Anyway, so the thing that I was probably most surprised about is the return of Langdon. And honestly, Langdon's growing on me. Not so much in episode 1. Langdon just goes full force in episode 1, trying to like do the program of recovery and apologizing and making amends with people. And it's like a whole thing that he immediately apologizes to Louis for stealing his medication in season 1. And Louis, I get the feeling, is definitely going to be a really big part of Langdon's character development, which I'm scared for. Louis's going to die, and it's going to be really sad, and Langdon's going to have like a wake-up call in this season, and it's going to be like crazy. He is actually very low energy this season as well, because he's not on drugs. He's a very like mellow person, and at first I thought it was because he like was not trying to cover up the fact that he was on drugs, and he was trying to, he'd been away for, I think it's been 10 months since the last season, and he's been away for so long, so he's calmer and he's like kind of awkward instead of trying to like, he doesn't know everyone anymore. I'm just really surprised he was allowed to come back after the fact that he was literally stealing drugs from Louis and other patients and from the hospital. That was kind of insane. But you know, Langdon's growing on me, and we're gonna get more into that in a minute, but I want to stick kind of to episode 1 at the moment. And another thing that we found out was, I'm just looking at my laptop for notes, right? Another thing we found out between a conversation between Garcia and Whitaker, we find out that Garcia and Santos have some sort of relationship, and Garcia's staying over. She has a toothbrush that Whitaker accidentally used. I did not realize that they were flirting last season, so it was very much a surprise that Garcia and Santos would be together in some way. But now that I rewatched season 1, I'm like, okay, now I get it. I do understand the flirting now. It was not at the forefront of the season, so that's not what I was paying attention to. So much happens in each episode. It's just like, it just gets kind of crazy, and you forget what you're what you're paying attention to. Just like the little details like that, it just like slips between the cracks. So that's why you have to like rewatch each episode. I've rewatched the season 1 so many times already. So Dana is back as well, Nurse Dana, and then Dr. Mohan is that how you say it? Mohan sounds more correct. She has family drama with her mother, and Mel is distracted by her deposition. Her deposition is a really big part of this season. I don't know how to tell you how I know this, but I just know that it's going to be such a big part of her season, because she speaks to Dr. Hashimi and Dr. Robbie about her deposition to kind of, not the details, but about how she was feeling. And Dr. Hashimi is like, I've never had a lawsuit, never been sued. And Mel kind of panics. At the end of the day, we know that Dr. Hashimi is definitely going to get sued, because she's going to be the reason the system malfunctioned. So Mel's deposition is going to be like a really big forefront, and like leading up to that whole thing happening. But it's also affecting like how she's performing as a doctor, which I think, like, imagine having like an off day as a doctor. Like, if anyone's watching this and is a doctor and has had an off day, like, there's like, people's lives are at stake. I could never be a doctor and just have like an off. I have lots of off days, and I could not. Just like, does someone die because of that? I hope not. Mel is not paying attention whatsoever. In fact, I think her name's Dr. McKay. She has to remind Mel at some point about something that's going on. They're trying to like diagnose what's happening with a patient, and she's like, it's like a Harry Potter spell. And Mel is like, I don't know, I don't remember. And everyone's like looking at her weird. Santos has a case that is possibly child abuse, but as we get into episode 2, we're finding out that it possibly isn't, and the accusations are going to cause some issues with her patient. And Santos jumping to conclusions is a really interesting thing about her characterization. And I love when you can see in like an ensemble cast, like, where their character development is going to come from, and where like their character flaws are, and what's going to happen with their character over the season. And because we have like their seasons are just one day, and like each episode is an hour, it means that the character development we see happens in like legit one day, and it's like pushed to their limits. We're not going to see characters completely change, but we're going to see the beginning of what causes like a life-altering moment in, like with Langdon last season, like it was discovered he was abusing drugs and he was an addict, and that we didn't see his development over time between seasons 1 and 2, but we do know that it happened. And we got to see the moment in time that changed it and altered his life entirely. And we just get to see a moment, a split second in time. And Santos has a lot of those life altering moments. And like me, here I am talking about like Langdon and then Santos immediately. Like those two do not clash. Those two don't come together. Like, just like Robbie. Santos is avoiding Langdon as well, which is very fair. Very, very fair. But I do hope that Langdon and Santos have like a proper heart-to-heart so they can like work together. Santos doesn't seem like the sort of character that would actually do that though. So Santos was correct in her child abuse case assumptions last season, but this time we're seeing something completely different for her, and that she has to learn that sometimes her opinions and her like own life experience isn't going to always help a patient in the same way that Dr. Mohan said to her last season. Javadi's 21st birthday is coming up, and what I'm really loving is Whittaker, Javadi, and Santos. They all had the same first day, and they were like really bonding as co-workers, and I absolutely love their relationships, especially with how Santos giving those two nicknames has kind of like bonded them, and Javadi and Whittaker kind of have a conversation about whether or not it's a good thing or not. But like Santos and Whittaker being roommates makes it even better. I love their little like trio relationship. I've seen a lot of edits online of their trio, and I keep them coming. I love it. I need more of those three. We also got a new nurse and new med students. The new med students, what are their names? I think I can't remember. There's Ogilvy, and then the internet is telling me the second med student is named Joy. I was gonna call her Hope, but that didn't sound right. So Joy and Ogilvy, I hate them so much. The nurse, I think her name's Emma. She's been taken under the wing of Dana, and she told her the STAMP acronym, and that the safe word is hula hoop. And since this show is like really good with foreshadowing, that's definitely going to be needed later, and I'm scared for Emma. Please don't hurt her. Hopefully she doesn't need it, but she definitely will. Otherwise, why would they have told us the safe word? The med students, on the other hand, my God, I hate them. And I've been seeing lots of people saying that Ogilvy is the tall Whittaker. I think they're calling him the tall Whittaker, comparing him to Whittaker. But he's just another version of Javadi, and they've started competing as well in episode 2. And Whittaker's kind of been like a mentor to the new med students, even though they really don't want to be mentored. And Robbie definitely mentored him into being a mentor. And I see a lot of people shipping, like I said earlier, like about the shipping of characters who would like never be together in the fandom. Whittaker and Robbie would never be together, but people really want them to be. It's definitely a mentor-mentee relationship in the show, but I really like that people have picked that up, and I'm here for people in their silly little ships, even if it won't ever happen. At one point, Whittaker even like has a moment of silence for one of their deceased patients, and it's so sweet, and Robbie sees him doing it, and I'm like, oh, well, Robbie's the one who taught him to do that, and it's so cute. Okay, so let's get a little bit more into episode 2, and one of the first notes I wrote down was, not sure Garcia likes Al Hashimi either. And it honestly doesn't look like anyone likes Dr. Hashimi, because it's just like she's come in and tried to change everything on her first day before she like even takes over for Robbie, and she's bringing in like AI and things that like aren't 100% accurate and have glitches and clearly cause issues later in the season. I don't like the new doctor, what do they call them? It's like charge nurse and like the head doctor. I don't know. I don't remember. But she's taking over for Robbie, and I'm not a fan. I've been seeing a lot of people say that we're not supporting women's wrongs enough in season 2 or in the show entirely. Like everyone's like doting over Robbie, and Dr. Hashimi is just like not getting the same attention. I'm like, look, fair. And just because she's making a lot of mistakes doesn't mean we should hate her, because Robbie makes a lot of mistakes, and it's just like Noah Wiley, so everyone loves him. But Dr. Al Hashimi, like aren't supposed to like her. I don't think she's gonna stay, honestly, in season 3. I'd be very surprised to see her character come back after this. I just think she's supposed to cause issues in this specific season and then leave. And that's happened, like, not all of the characters have come back. It's not just, I know the woman who played Dr. Collins, she didn't come back because there was, like, issues surrounding, like, hate speech or something along those lines, and she didn't come back. But Kiara, the social worker, didn't come back, and we're introduced to Dylan in episode 2. I believe it's in episode 2 and not episode 1 that we're introduced to. I've heard that Dylan is non-binary, which is interesting because I was trying to pay attention to what their pronouns are. As far as I know, they're non-binary. So they then pronouns for Dylan, but they are replacing Kiara. I think Kiara is not working that specific shift. So that makes sense, but that character didn't come back. So it would make sense for particular characters like Dr. Al Hashimi to not come back. Maybe in season 3 we'll hear like something along the lines of like she's like dealing with the lawsuit from the hospital shutting down and all of the stuff that happens in season 2. One of the things that I definitely think is going to be brought up later in the season is Dr. J. Who is Dr. J? I think I've seen some speculation around this as well. It's potentially and probably most likely Dr. Javadi, and we're going to see more about Javadi in future in the season and what's going on. Langdon is the person who finds out about Dr. J, and he's like, there's no Dr. J here. And the thing is, he wouldn't know because he hasn't been there for 10 months. So how would he know what's going on with all the doctors in the hospital, right? So there's a woman who's accidentally super glued her eyelid shut trying to put on like false eyelashes. And it's just a little tidbit of who is Dr. J. But it's definitely going to come up. Someone is out here treating patients, or I did also see, I love like the internet speculation about what's going on. And another thing that's great about weekly releases of episodes is that you get to speculate. If it isn't like massive theories like Stranger Things between volumes, it's just like weekly releases of like dramas, right? Of the drama genre. It's like you get to like speculate about what the foreshadowing is about, and it's like really fun to just pick up little tidbits that you know are gonna be like relevant later in the season. That I love. So who is Dr. J? I really need to know. In episode 1, I was actually kind of curious to know if Robbie and Al Hashimi were going to end up being love interests because they were getting rather close. But I think Al Hashimi is potentially just really in people's spaces. Because Robbie actually ends up getting a love interest in episode 2. He's hooking up with someone, and I've seen people being like, Robbie, like in a situationship with someone in his 50s. Like, how stupid is that? I doubt this love interest is going to stick around for the next season as well. Robbie is just not the type of person for commitment. Oh my god, you know what it just occurred to me? I didn't mention the abandoned baby. Like, Al Hashimi has had some sort of flashbacks that we don't understand what the backstory is for, and she has some sort of connection with this abandoned baby case. So I'm very curious about that. Like, that's going to lead into something that's very important for her character development. And if anything, she'll stay for next season because of that backstory. And people, like, if people are a big enough fan of her by the end of the season, I wouldn't be surprised if she does stick around, or if she makes like a cameo, she comes back for season 4 maybe. Who knows? Commitment just had me thinking about the abandoned baby all of a sudden. I thought it was really cute when in episode 1 that Robbie, I think it was episode 1, anyway, either one of the episodes, at one point, Robbie, this is why I'm doing it weekly and not with like 2 episodes or 3 episodes at a time. Robbie says, "If you'll excuse me," to the baby. And I think this is really, that was really adorable. I really did like that. But the last thing I kind of wanted to touch on for this episode and for this video is Mel and Langdon, because Mel and Langdon is the thing that I see everywhere. Next to like Whittaker and Robbie and that kind of ship, I see Langdon and Mel as kind of like soulmates in some form, in the fandom space so much. And I wanted to discuss that and things that we were seeing. Like, I was really concerned that they were going to make them romantic interests instead of like maybe platonic or like brother sister, mentor mentee kind of thing. I think there are a lot of directions that can like happen with these characters, and Langdon is married with kids. I'm so deep into the fandom. I see so many videos about the Pitt, right? The Pitt, massive fan base. Very fun fan base as well. It's so refreshing since being a part of the Stranger Things fandom. Anyway, so Langdon, people say that just because Langdon has a wife and kids doesn't mean like we can't ship them. Fine. Sure. Go ahead. Whatever you guys want. If you want to ship Langdon and Mel, not my problem. I want to think about the practicality of me watching this show because Langdon cannot be with Mel. I'm so against this ship. I like their relationship, and I said Langdon is like growing on me as a character, and I think that, yeah, it's really important to discuss the fact that addiction is a disease, and it's like good to have that representation in like a doctor. Not that you want your doctor to be like an addict, but it's really good to see that representation in the show and through Langdon, through like that kind of perspective. It's a very intriguing approach, and Langdon and Mel's relationship is very interesting. In a lot of ways, I do really love their relationship because the interactions that they have had in season 1 and season 2 is so adorable, but I do not want it to be romantic at all. Last season, I was really concerned that it would end up being romantic just because of the way that Mel was talking to her sister on the phone, and her sister's like, you have to have a boyfriend, and that whole kind of thing, and that Mel really closely bonded with Langdon all of a sudden. And it was really, the way in which the show was steering it, I was like, oh, this is a bit weird. This is a little odd. And then in season 2, as soon as Mel sees Langdon, she goes, oh, Dr. Langdon, you're back. And she gets like really excited. And then it goes to the next shot, and she's not paying attention to the patient. She's staring at him, like admiring the man. And I'm like, what are you doing? You're at work. What are we doing? And that was like crazy to watch. And I do like their relationship. And in episode 2, we also see Langdon being really nice to Mel. Mel doesn't realize she's being flirted with by the guy with the bike injury. And then obviously he turns out to be a criminal, and Mel in the whole ordeal ends up falling off her chair, hitting her head, and has to be treated. Langdon helps her out, and treats her basically. And then they have like their little inside jokes from last season. And then he says the ER can be really overwhelming and turns off the light in the room that she's in, which is a callback to last season where Mel treated a patient with autism and ended up like turning off the light because the ER can be so overwhelming. And it was a really nice callback. It was great. They're like, in my eyes, they're like platonic soulmates. I think their relationship is really cute, and the fact that they're bonded like that, it almost gives Mel like a chance to not be in charge all the time, always like having to be strong and having to like she was for some time a full-time carer for her sister, and then she had to put her into like a care facility in order for her sister to get the proper treatment. Langdon is essentially allowing Mel to be a person, and we even see that with the way that Mel starts discussing her interests with her patient. Like, Mel is in this character development journey, and her journey is essentially about discovering herself and discovering her interests, and Langdon is kind of like giving her the ability to do so and discover who she actually is when she's just being herself. And the thing that I really love, the person who plays Mel did an interview that she doesn't really see Mel having a love interest, which is great. So I'm like, great. They're not going for the romantic love interest arc. They're going for something else. The actor, I have heard, has also said that she believes Mel as Ara Ace, which I was like, on this channel, we love a good Ara Ace representation. Like, I personally am Ara Ace, so I discuss that kind of representation on my channel like all the time. And I'm like, Ara Ace, a canon Ara Ace character. Yes, give me that. I would love that. Thank you so much. Thank you, The Pitt. Amazing. Who knew? Like, some great Ara Ace representation would be in this random medical drama. I love it. Great. Make Langdon and Mel this kind of like mentor, mentee kind of like relationship bond, platonic soulmates. Great. Amazing. And then make Mel an Ara Ace. Love it. That's all I have to say. Love The Pitt. Thank you. If that actor can make that true, like truly canon, I would cry. Honestly. But that's really all I have to say today for the Pitt. It was quite a long debrief. I've been filming for 40 minutes. I don't know how long this video is actually gonna end up being, but we debriefed both episodes. I would love to know you guys' thoughts down in the comment section below. Basically, what I want for this video is to be like a discussion. I want to add to the fandom space. I love the Pitt's fandom space and I want to be a part of it. So that's why I'm making this video. We're going to discuss this every week. It'll be every Sunday from now on, just one episode after every episode that comes out each Friday. I really can't wait to talk about the Pitt more, so let me know your thoughts on today's video down below as well. If you liked today's video, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. Obviously, like I said, comment down below as well. Once again, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, but I've been CJ, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!